All right, it's 7:36 right now. We know our phones track our every move, every search, even our conversations. But do you know how to stop it if you want to? It's coming up next. Oh, welcome back, everyone. Do you ever get creeped out when you see a specific ad on your phone shortly after just having a conversation about something? Apps are constantly tracking data. If you don't like it, there are ways you can boost your privacy. Here to talk more about this is tech expert Nick Walney. I'm glad you're here to talk about this. So this is what I encourage you at home right now. Grab your cell phones. You're about to get a great lesson of where to begin. So everybody power on, and where do we begin?
Well, I think one of the first features that many people realize or don't realize are on their phones is what's called significant locations or frequent locations. This is a fairly new development, and basically your smartphone is tracking every place you visited, in some cases how long you have visited that location for and how long it took you to get there. Now, technology is putting in these implementations that way they can make personalized recommendations for you, and while the information is encrypted, meaning that the smartphone hardware company can't look at your data, it's kind of creepy.
So maybe you don't want suggestions. So how do we disable that?
You'll go into your settings. It'll vary for iOS or for Android, depending on what those settings are. But it is, it's buried a little bit. But if you go in, it is pretty easy to toggle on and off. And it's also fairly easy to clear your previous history.
So you start by going to privacy, then location services,
That's right,
significant locations.
Which I did right after I gave you guys that screenshot of all the places I go.
I love it. Okay, now what about ad tracking? Those are constantly popping up. Is there any way to control that a little bit? Because sometimes you don't want anybody to know, the second they get on your feed what you've been shopping for, especially if it's like a special occasion or something, you're trying to surprise somebody. Right.
The good news is that ad tracking is something that can also be toggled on and off. Many small businesses will use something like geolocation tracking in their ads because from the small business perspective, it's actually really effective. If someone is in your zip code, maybe you want them to swing by and pick up a donut from your local shop or something like that. But similar to the previous setup, you go into your different menu settings. It is fairly buried, but it is a toggle on and off switch. And what that will do is it will stop broadcasting your location to any of these automated ads that are happening.
Now, what about the things we're searching? Because Google is constantly keeping an eye on that. Is there anything we can do about it?
Yeah, well, about 56% of all searches now take place on a phone. So even in the last few years, that has really changed. You can change the browser that you are doing searches on. And if you are on iOS, if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, there is a feature on the Safari app that allows you to go into a private browsing mode. So if you just feel a little bit creeped out, you have that option. If you are using Android, then you may want to download a different browser. Mozilla has a browser called Firefox, which you may have heard of before. Firefox has really great privacy standards, and so you're less likely to be tracked.
Okay, what else can we do to protect ourselves from all this snooping around?
I think the biggest thing is just being aware of what these updates are and going in, taking some time to go in, really look at your location history, really look at the tracking history, and getting a good understanding of what information is automatically being broadcast from your phone out to potential providers and data points, and then making an intentional decision.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know we say it's kind of creeps you out, but I mean, it's not like none of this would harm you. It's just kind of frustrating sometimes, right? To feel like someone's always following up with everything you say and do.
Right. Yeah. And something like, they say for Facebook, the average user has about 150,000 data points. So that's far more data points than what anyone at the company would actually be going through. It's so that they can make more intelligent ad decisions, more intelligent decisions on what to show you. So that's what's important.
Nick, you're always so helpful. Thank you for the tips. I'm going to get real busy on my phone while I remember what you told me. 7:42 right now. Nate Griffin has a live look at what's coming up next.